Hi, I'm Danny. Welcome back to the Fibre Nest. This is I'm recording a bit sooner than I expected to. Um, I thought, as I've been speaking last time to you about warm weather knitting, it might be helpful for me to show some of the things that are in my wish list for summer patterns, including some that I've already knit. Strangely, I'm feeling a bit extra nervous because I'm sitting in a completely different spot to where I normally sit, and you can see the chaos behind me of all of the crafty goodness. And I just thought I've got a spare half an hour, so I would just come and talk to you a little bit about some warm weather patterns. I will start with Ravelry, and I thought I would utilise Zoom and share my screen and see how that goes. So let's see. So let's take you straight to Ravelry. And I've not done this before, so who knows how this is going to turn out. So I've gone through all of my 2,200 favorited patterns, probably very few of which I'm actually going to knit. But anyway, I had a quick skim through the other day with some summer patterns that I would like to knit and some that I have already knit. So let's start here. So of course, this is probably on lots of people's radar, the Tolsta tea by Rebecca Clow, the Cray Bear. So I have knit one of these. I can show you it in another episode because I'm completely unprepared for this today because I just thought, right, let's just record something. So I've knit the Tolsta tea before in 4-ply. Really lovely pattern, lots of different versions of it. So you can see here some of the different design features. You can really personalize it in lots of ways. I think there's also a Tolsta tank as well. So a really good pattern, really great value. So I have yarn to make several more of the Tolsta tea. So this is the DK version, but there is also a 4-ply version, as I mentioned. So over 6,000 of these already been made. So very popular pattern. And as I say, one that I will certainly knit more of. So the staple linen top. So this is another one that I've knit. So this is by Hohilo Catelli. I knit this in drops. Was it drops? I will put all the yarn down below, all the details in the comments. So this is a really nice pattern by Hohi. So I knit mine in, I think it was a linen and cotton mix yarn. So let's try and make this. Oh no, let's go back. So I don't know if you can see that very well. It's in a dark yarn. I knit mine in navy blue. I really like it. It's nice and casual. Nice for a hot summer's day. Hohi's wearing a tank under hers. I don't need to wear a tank under mine. But maybe it's because of the really dark yarn that she's done that. I can see how if you knit this, so it's a sport weight yarn, I can see if you added like a thin sparkle yarn to this, it would make it nice and kind of glitzy for a night out, or something a bit more special than kind of lounging around on the beach, or I mean even workwear really, if you pair it with the right skirt, trousers and so on. So yeah, I really like this pattern. I'm not sure that I'd make it again, but I do really like the version that I made. So very happy with that. So let's go to another one that I've already knit. So this the Traveller Drop Stitch Top. I made this. So I knit it as a beach cover-up. So this is probably my most worn summer garment, actually, because when I go away, I'll wear this every day. Just chuck it on over my swimsuit to go down to the beach. If so, on holiday, if I want to go to the restaurant, wander down to the beach, wander down to the pool, just chuck this on. Again, the yarn that I used was a Drops cotton linen combo. So let's see if I can get a bit closer. So it's Aran weight yarn, so 13 stitch gauge. So it didn't take that long to knit. And what needle size is that? So that's a 4 or 5. Sorry if me moving this around is making you feel a bit unwell. But let's zoom in a bit. No, can't get very close. So what you might not be able to see is there's the kind of stripes. So stockinette stitch stripe here, and then in between is a drop stitch, which is very exciting. Well, it was very exciting the first time I did it. So with the drop stitch, I can't remember exactly how you do it, but you wrap the yarn around the needle a few times, and then what happens is the row becomes extra thick. So what you can see not very well there is a knit row that becomes longer or deeper because of the drop stitch. So actually it goes quite quickly. And it also dries really well. If you kind of chuck it on over a wet swimsuit and then drape it on the back of your sunbed, it dries out really nicely because of the fibre that is used to make it. And it's nice and oversized as well. And I knit mine in this colour. As I say, I will put the yarn down below in terms of the yarn that I used. So this one, lovely pattern. I wouldn't knit another one because the one that I knit was just lovely. And I wouldn't change anything about it. And it's not the kind of thing that I would need more than one of. So another of these patterns that I've knit is this one, the Des Chain by Layla Raven. So again, it's in a dark yarn, so you can't really see it very well. Can I make this bigger? No, I don't think let's have a look. Right, okay. So you can see here, this bottom row, that's a row of drop stitches as well, like the pattern that I just spoke about. This is a very loose gauge as well. The yarn I use, again, I think it might have been in a discontinued yarn actually. I will take a photo and show you. Now my version of this stretched out quite a lot because of the fibres in the yarn. I think it had some bamboo content and it was like a tape yarn or a ribbon yarn. But you can see there's a panel here down the front of lace. It's oversized and quite drapey. Unfortunately, so the lace is just on the front. It's in pieces, so it's not knit in the round. But big yarn, big needles, doesn't take very long. Unfortunately, my sleeves, I knit them to the right length. Let's see. This is probably a better picture of the sleeve length. So I knit it to here, but because of the yarn the fibre in the yarn, my sleeves have gone down below the end of my arms. So it's a bit too long, and surprise, surprise, I can't be bothered to pull it out to make them the right length. But in any case, it's a very nice throw over, say, for summer, if you've got like a short sleeved vest top or a dress on, this is really nice to just throw over the top, so you've got an extra layer if it's feeling a bit chilly. So it's kind of like an alternative to a shawl in some ways, but you just don't have to worry about tying it around you, I guess. So that's really nice. Again, I don't think I would make another one because I was just really happy with this version, apart from obviously the sleeves being too long. But I would really recommend the pattern. Um, so yeah, Aran weight, 14 stitches and 6.5mm needles. Really lovely pattern. And so I'm going to go to another one of Layla Raven's patterns, which is the column here. Again, in a dark yarn. Let's make that a bit bigger. So I really like the look of this one. It's got nice, let's see, nice lace motif there that looks quite straightforward. Again, could probably be dressed up or down, depending on the yarn that you use. This is on my to knit list, and I'm sure I've got yarn for this somewhere. So, oh, my mistake. This is by Isabel Kramer. It's just the same model. So that's my mistake. So yeah, so this is the column by Isabel Kramer. This is a fingering weight pattern, and 24 stitch gauge with 32 rows. And the yarn used in the sample here is a linen yarn, 100% linen. So I certainly have, yes, I do have linen yarn that I could use for this. Yeah, so that looks like another nice pattern. I've not knit anything by Isabel Kramer before. And over 1,500 projects there as well for that one. So that's a bit of a vote of confidence. I think it's always encouraging to see other people knitting patterns that you like and also going to have a look for some inspiration too. Okay, so where to next? So something a bit different. The Rumours vest. So I think this is by Iron Lamb. Yep. So let's make this bigger so you can see it a bit better. So this is a really lovely crochet pattern. Nice and simple. I like the name because I love Fleetwood Mac. But it's also a really, really nice top as well. It looks like a simple granny stitch. Let's have a look a little bit closer. Yeah, that looks like a granny stitch. I don't have lots of experience of making crochet garments. I made a hexie cardigan last summer. That's a winner actually. That's a really nice, a lovely pattern that I think is free on YouTube. I can link that below. And I am going to make another one of those. But anyway, getting distracted. So Iron and Lamb. So nice crochet sleeveless top. Let's have a look. So in a DK weight yarn, 70 of these have been already made. Let's have a look for some inspiration. Okay, so you can see a range of different colours used there. Some nice speckled or variegated yarn, so you can see the nice differences that you can get with in terms of yarn choice. Nice striped version there. And people with and without the tassels as well, I guess. I wouldn't describe myself as a tassels person. However, I mean, I've never really thought of defining myself as either with or without tassels. But I think for this pattern, I think I would add the tassels. Yeah, I think it looks really nice. Okay. And it looks pretty straightforward as well and probably pretty quick to do. So that I've got the yarn for that. And yet again, I'm being blocked by gauge swatch paralysis of not ever wanting to do a gauge swatch. Okay, so let's just go through these in order now. So the everyday tank. Um, let's get a close up of this. So this is a fingering weight crochet top. Let's see if we can get, oh dear. No, I can't make that. Let's see, there we go. So I don't recognise that stitch. I'm not a very experienced crocheter, so that probably has a lot to do with it, but it's just a nice classic shape. A lovely V-neck. You can see it's a V-neck in the back as well. Lovely colour. Again, that would probably suit your summer work wardrobe as well, but equally be just as nice with a skirt or a pair of shorts going down to the beach or to the park or what have you. Yeah, so that's certainly one that I really like the look of, and the designer is Ashley Shoemaker, and it's the Everyday Tank. Um, so I'm not sure if I mentioned, but it's fingering weight yarn, 20 stitch gauge, and it's the lemon peel stitch. Okay. And very size inclusive. So we've got from extra small to 5XL. Yeah, so that's another one that I would like to make. The MELIDES, don't know how to pronounce that. So this is a design by Vert Knit. It's knitting rather than crochet. Another fingering weight project, which makes sense because probably a lot of warm weather garments are going to be made out of fingering weight, out of a lighter yarn. This looks slightly cropped, so would work well, I guess, for people with maybe some high waist jeans or a skirt, or I guess people who are really body confident, body positive, and don't mind showing their midriff. I've had children. My midriff is firmly shut away, but that doesn't have to be everybody's choice. So it looks like stockinette. Yeah, again, stockinette, nice simple pattern, V-neck, and some bust darts there as well, which is good because you don't often get bust shaping um, in patterns. And as somebody with a larger bust, it can be helpful when patterns do. Oh, and that's something else to say as well about the Tolsta, that there is bust shaping and extra things to do for different bust sizes. Um, so yeah, the sample has been knit in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, fingering weight, and looks fairly size inclusive. We've got 16 sizes, so up to a bust of 50.5 inches, with 0 ease. Excellent, and it's described as adventurous beginner. So that's another really nice simple one. And again, I can see if you included a sparkly yarn and held that double, you could really dress that up very nicely. Okay, let's whiz on to the next one. So the outline tee. So this is by Jessie Maed. Jessie Maed has done quite a few nice patterns actually. I previously made the outline tank, and I felt like I was taking my life in my hands, because here, what you do is you do something here. I think you put a stitch marker, and then when you get to the top, so it's knit from the bottom up, and you can see here it's the same detail at the back as well. When you get to the top, you just drop the stitch. And I really thought it was tense. It was a tense moment. And at the time I also had a newborn baby at the time I was knitting this top, so really did not have any confidence in my ability to have done this correctly. But actually it worked really well and I was really happy with it. So this is definitely on my to knit list. It's just a really nice shape. It's cropped styling. I've got the yarn. Where is the yarn? But again, gauge swatch paralysis. So I don't know if you can see, if you look up into the top corner, tiny picture, probably not much good to you, but Tin Lena, Sandnes Garn, Tin Lena, and this is colour 4108. And on the screen when I bought this, I thought it was red, and it probably looks reddish, but actually in real life it's more like a really orangey red. So it wasn't quite the colour that I was looking for. However, now it's here, I'll use it. So yes, so let's have a look then at the pattern details. So this had over 2,000 projects in it. Fingering weight yarn, 22 stitch gauge. This is very size inclusive, so it goes from an extra small to a 62-inch bust. No, is it 71? No, yes, 62, 60 to 62-inch bust. And you can see here, this looks, that looks wonderful on lots of different body types. Yeah, so very flattering top. Again, knit in pieces because of the drop stitch detail, but a really, really nice pattern, and I'm looking forward to casting that on. However, it does mean having to do a gauge swatch. We know how I feel about those. Right, so I'm almost through all of my Ravelry wish list for summer tops. The Meadow tank. So this is by Katrina Walser. I've not knit any of her projects before. Only five other projects made, but I do think it's really important to support designers who maybe haven't got the same visibility or following as some of the more popular ones, just so that there's space for everybody. So this is a knit pattern, fingering weight, 26 stitch gauge. Can't really see the stitch pattern there. It almost looks like fish scales, like a mermaid's tail, that kind of texture. So really pretty, and a kind of more of a square neckline there, which is a bit different to some of the ones we've already looked at. And I really love green, so that really caught my eye. So again, fairly size inclusive. Goes up to a 60-inch bust, available online from Knit Picks. And the yarn here that's been used in the sample is cotton acrylic mix. I would probably use cotton for this. I do have a big cotton stash because every time Drops has their cotton summer sale, I stock up. Again, this is a really nice one. Sleeveless top. I really like the texture. Let's see if I can get a closer picture of the texture. My children have just got back from their day, so I might be invaded soon, so I might need to do this in 2 sittings, but I'll keep going until I'm invaded. So really like, that looks like a scalloped hem. So that looks really lovely. Let's have a look at this one. There we go. You can see the texture in a bit more detail there with the yarn. That looks like a kind of cotton yarn because it's got a bit of a shine to it, cotton or linen. There we go. So the Tin Lena that I just showed you, fingering weight. So it's cotton, rayon and linen blend. So 24 stitch gauge. Yeah, really nice. Really nice pattern. Perhaps less size inclusive. So there's only 7 sizes. Goes from 28.75 inch bust to 51.25. Um, there we go. Okay, right. Let's see if we can get to the end of the Ravelry patterns before I'm invaded, and then I will move on to showing you the ones that I've got in some pattern books that I've recently bought as well. So, Quail Studio pattern, 001 vest top. So this is really nice. It looks very classic shape, just stockinette stitch, I think, with a really lovely panel down the side of a textured stitch. I can't make out what that is. Would that be more stitch? Maybe. I don't know. Um, is it knit? Is that knit from a different direction? Looks like it might be knit from the side. Anyway, or like the perpendicular to the front and the back. So another really classic shape. Again, you could dress this up or down. It could be really nice for kind of office wear during the summer, and still look really classy. Again, not so. This is from Rowan. Rowan don't tend to be so size inclusive. So it goes from a 32 to 34-inch bust up to 48 to 50-inch bust. So fingering weight, this knitting cotton, and again, I've got the yarn for this, so I fully intend to knit it. And then, I mean, actually, you know, thinking about it, there are a few missing here from the ones that I hope to knit for summer. However, let's be realistic. I'm not going to knit even half of these for summer. So maybe I'll do another one of these next year. So this pattern is the last of the Ravelry ones that I'm going to share. So the pattern's called Top Paris by Marianella Gallo. A knit top, fingering weight, 25 stitch gauge. This looks fairly size inclusive, written in English and Spanish. So let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. So I really like this simple but effective lace pattern down the bottom. It looks really nice. And I just really love the drape of this. It perhaps not too fussed on the shoulder ties, but I think it fits in terms of the style very nicely. And I think probably what I'm drawn to the most about this top is just the draping. It just looks nice and silky and soft and kind of romantic, I guess. So let's have a look. So this is fingering weight. The yarn used, let's have a look to see if so bamboo fingering. So yes, bamboo can be nice and silky and have a really nice drape. So I can see that being a good yarn choice. Okay. So actually, having a look at this, the yarn requirement is saying 2 skeins of bamboo yarn. And I guess that's one of the benefits of summer tops. You don't need so many balls of yarn, but it does take quite a while because little yarn, little needles. Okay. All right, so let me stop sharing there for the moment. So that's all of the Ravelry patterns I wanted to share with you today. I will have to go shortly because I just had a little window of time to share patterns, but I will record another bit a bit later and show you some of the recent pattern books that I've acquired that I'm hoping to knit from. Oh, not sure what happened there. Okay. All right, so I will stop here and come back to you later. Hi. So I'm back with more mess in the background because when I did the auto frame thing on Zoom, it started going all weird. So I've switched that off. So now you can see more of my craft room mess. Also an outfit change because I've just come back from Pilates. Um, but I'm trying to embrace the don't wait for it to be perfect. So where we left off, I was taking you through Ravelry with a selection of some knitting and crochet patterns that I either intend to knit or have knit and have really enjoyed. So the next bit is move into some pattern books that I've recently purchased. So hopefully, it'll probably be a bit more clunky because I'm showing you books, but I'm really excited about them actually. So I will start with so just to say actually all of these pattern books were recently bought from Laughing Hens, which is a UK website which I will link below. So oh, it's automatically focusing. Sorry, folks. So Voyage. So it's a West Yorkshire Spinners. Now having a brain freeze about whether I need to mirror the settings. No, ignore me. So Voyage, West Yorkshire Spinners pattern book. So these are patterns. So it's 6 knitted designs, and it's meant to be showcasing their new yarn, which is Solstice 4-ply, and the designs by Sarah Hatton. So, excuse me. I don't intend to knit these in West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, but I liked the designs and it was a reasonable price for the patterns. So let me show you which of these I like and hope to knit. So this pattern, Rhodes, let me see if I can change that because that's really distracting. It's distracting me as well. Auto framing, let's turn that off. Oh, look, even more mess. More mess than you thought possible. All right, let me get rid of that. Sorry, I'm faffing about. So Rhodes, I'll hold it up. How's that focusing? Ish. Okay. So kind of 3/4 length sleeves. I really like this lace detail down the front. So it's busy enough to be interested and not just stockinette stitch, but not too busy so that it's too busy that I don't want to knit it. It looks like in terms of the cuffs, that looks like it's an unfinished edge, or maybe just garter stitches. You can't really see here very well. So I'm not sure I would do that. I think I might change here. I'm not sure if you can see that. No, I'll try and zoom if I can. Anyway, I think I would probably just do ribbon because I don't really like that unfinished edge there. I think it looks a bit sloppy. So yes, that looks nice. Another one that appeals to me. So these are all 4-ply patterns, by the way. And I'll go and have a look at the construction after I've shown you the pictures. So this is Marseille. I like that. A nice kind of classic cardigan. Don't know if you can see very well, but at the top there's a subtle texture pattern. Um, Again, so not just a plain cardigan. Um, and what's this at the bottom edge again? Oh, that looks like a 1 by 1 rib, but there's a kind of a detail just before the hem here, a texture, and I'm not quite sure what it is, but yeah, so that looks nice. So that's the second pattern. There's another couple here that I like as well. So you can't really see it very well because of the colour of the yarn, but this is called Athens. Um, so there's at the bottom here, there's a nice lace pattern. If I hold that up to the camera, is that going to make it better? Is it going to focus? No, it's not. Okay. Yeah, the quality of that image isn't very good, is it? I'll see if I can find some clearer images somewhere. So this is Athens. So it looks like a cap-sleeved top with some lace down here. So that looks nice. And then again, unfinished edges. So the neckline and the sleeve edges don't look like it just looks like it's a rolled edge or an I-cord. And then this is the cover picture, so this is called Venice. So again, this looks nice. I can see this being a good use for some scraps, kind of stash busting. So it's not, I'll show you the picture because it's the cover picture as well, and that's bigger. So I'll show you that one. So you can see it's not a solid stripe. It's a kind of textured stripe or an irregular stripe, if that makes sense. But I like that as well. That's a really nice pattern. So let me say a bit about the construction. So Rhodes, which is this one. Tension is 28 stitches. So it's knit in pieces. And you need to knit it bottom up. And in terms of the finishing on those cuffs, let's see what it says. Yeah, it doesn't have any, it doesn't seem to have particular finishing. Okay. There are other patterns in this booklet, but none that I want to knit, so I won't show those. And then, sorry, I'm flicking through. So the Marseille, which was the light blue one, so that's this one. So same tension, so 28 stitches. Not knitting the round, it's got some short rows. I'm trying to figure out what that pattern is that's at the start of the ribbon at the bottom, but I can't figure it out. but it looks like there's no, have I got that right? Yes, it's not seamed. Oh, here's a close-up of the, there we go. You can see that there is a bit of a pattern at the bottom of the hemming before the hemming ribbon starts, sorry. Um, Athens, which is this one. Um, so it's knit in pieces from the bottom up. Ah, interesting stitch note. It says, we would recommend not checking your stitch count after working row 1. Okay, interesting. Okay. And then Venice, which is the final one. Um, Feeling a bit embarrassed about all of this mess, to be honest. But then, if you had to wait until it wasn't messy, you'd never see me again. Right. So again, it's the same tension for all the patterns, which is quite handy actually, because if you use the same yarn and same fibre content for each of these patterns, you don't need to do gauge swatches, which is music to my ears. So this is knit in the round. And I think it is knit top down. Yeah, so there's raglan shaping. Yeah, here's a closer up image of those stripes. There we go. So that is the West Yorkshire Spinners. I've only bought these recently, so these should still be in stock on the Laughing Hens website. So that's this one. I'll put this away down here. And I guess in terms of the yarns that I would plan to use for those patterns, I've got some of the drops. Is the saffron? I think it is the drop saffron, which is a 4-ply 100% cotton yarn. And it is currently on offer. I think it's something like 90p for a 50-gram ball on Wool Warehouse, and probably on sale at other places as well, because drops tend to have sales at the same times on different retailer sites. So the next one, next pattern book is Rico Love Wool. So haven't really used much of Rico's yarn before. Haven't used any of their patterns, but was having a browse through the Laughing Hens website for their pattern books and saw this, and to be honest, love most of the patterns and wanted to knit or crochet pretty much most of them. So there are, so these are for spring and summer. So let me show you the patterns. So just to give you a sense of, and I don't think this was very much. Don't think the pattern book cost very much, but this is all the patterns that you get, which I think is just fabulous. When you think that quite a lot of patterns on Ravelry can be at least £5 each for a garment, the value here of how many patterns? at least 20, if not more, patterns here. For not very much money. I don't think this pattern book cost me very much at all, to be honest, maybe about £10. So again, I won't show you all of them. I'll just show you the ones that I like and intend to knit or crochet. So these shorts, you can't see them very clearly. I will see if I can get better pictures, but in terms of garments for spring and summer, I've often wondered about making some shorts because there seems to be lots of patterns around for um, tops, sleeveless tops, cardigans, things like that, but not so much for skirts and shorts. Saying that, actually, I'm waiting on Patricia Lavagnella. Put a post a couple of months ago on Instagram about a dress that that's currently being test knit, and I am stalking her Instagram page, waiting for it to be published because it looks fabulous and a bit different to all of the garments. I mean, garments are great, but you know, um, it's nice to kind of be able to create a whole outfit, um, or at least um, bottoms to go with the tops that you make, because a lot of knitting tends to be for your top half. So I really like the idea of these crochet shorts. And so this pattern it's DK. And I plan to make it in. I'm just reaching for my yarn. No, I'm not gonna get all the yarn out because that's gonna take forever. But I plan to crochet these with sorry, that noise was my foot on my desk. With some grey cotton yarn. And I'm going to see how they go, because with them being cotton and the kind of fabric that will be made, I don't want them to kind of, I'm worried there's a potential for them to go a bit baggy and saggy and look a bit rubbish after one wear. So I'm going to make them, see how it goes, and if they wear well, I'll make more, because I think I don't think they need very many balls. No. So it says here that you need 350 grams of DK cotton. So that's less than £7. So drops, I've got Muscat, MUSKAT, that's their DK cotton yarn. And that's around £1 a ball at the moment, as well, as part of their sale in Wool Warehouse. Yeah, so I do intend to make those. So this top as well, I really like the look of. So this isn't picking it up very well, but you can see that it's kind of a vintage style here. So it's got the collar and then a chevron lace pattern and then quite deep ribbing here. I would knit this longer for me because of my mum tum. I'm not showing off my midriff, that's not going to make me feel the most confident. So I would knit it a bit longer than this. But again, I really like the nice, bright, fresh colour. And I bought the yarn for it. So this is cotton. I think, is it a DK? Yeah, I think it's DK weight. And it takes between 250 to 450 grams of the Rico cotton for the polo shirt. So very much looking forward to knitting that. However, the age-old problem of gauge swatch paralysis, which I'm trying to find a strategy to overcome it. I'm still looking. So any ideas, do shout. This is another one. I wasn't sure how much I liked this when I first saw it, because I wasn't sure about the colour change in yarn. Initially I saw it and I thought, oh no, I don't like that. But then the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. So you can see you can see in this picture a bit better. There's a really nice chevron lace pattern. Again, I think this is a nice one that could be dressed up or down. So I think this would make really nice workwear, as well as maybe evening wear, or if you're going on a day out or something like that. So I have from Wool Warehouse again. I've got some yarn to make this. Let me see. Actually, let me show you the yarn, because it might or might not. Look at this ridiculous. So I'm not going to get it out of the bag, but this pastel gradient yarn cake. It's the Yarn Smith's headliner, and it's 100% cotton. So I've got 4 cakes of that, and I think at the moment it's about £8 or £9 for a cake. So I've mentioned before I really like colour, so this is going to become that chevron T pattern there. So I'm very excited about that. So that requires 400 to 600 grams of DK, I think. Right, let's keep going. Now this, I'll show you this because I like it, but I'm not going to knit it. I really like this pattern. So nice, simple rib tee. Looks very nice, and I guess classical shape on the front. In the back, it's kind of got this backless design, which I think is beautiful. And were I 20 years younger, I would probably make this and wear it. However, being older, had children, I need support, and bra straps are going to ruin the look of that. I know you can probably get like stick-on bra things, but I can't be dealing with that. It just sounds like a bit too much hassle just to be able to wear one top, but I do really like it. It's a really lovely top. And that's actually got some sparkle in. So Rico, one of the things I think they're good at is some of the probably what's called like fashion or novelty yarns. So they've brought out a Bloomshin, creative make it Bloomshin, which is I think it's lyocell. I think it's a lyocell thread. You can't really see it here. I'll put another picture in because this isn't really doing it justice. And it's kind of on the back of these sparkle yarns that have been around for the last several years. And it's a lyocell thread with kind of flower shaped, not quite sequins because they don't look very sparkly. But they just add a little bit of a shimmer. So again, that might be a good option for some of the patterns that I mentioned earlier, where if you paired it with a sparkly yarn, that that might dress it up. So this is a really nice example of that. And it's a shame. I really do like this top, but I just don't think with my undergarment requirements, it's a no-go. And then this one. I looked at this initially and I thought, no, that looks a bit like a sack. It's too oversized, it's shapeless. Um, Not for me. However, um, as I kept looking through the pictures in here, it kind of grew on me. And I thought, well, I can see space for that in my wardrobe. So I like the fact that it's got a loop on the side that kind of holds it together. Um, it looks nice and loose and comfortable. And again, thinking about, I guess the throw over that I showed you earlier with the stripes that I knitted with the drop stitches. Um, there's something that I quite like at the end of a day, just a nice hot day, chucking something on, something nice and cozy and sloppy. Um, because often, particularly in the UK, you might have a hot day, but then in the evening it's freezing. And so something that you can just easily grab and chuck on to keep the chill off. I like the idea of that. And so you notice the colour gradient yarn. These again are the Yarn Smiths from a warehouse, 100% cotton gradient cakes. And I don't tend to do neutral colours. I like lots of colour. Um, so, but the plan for these is to do that. Just put that out of the way. And then there's others that I like, but I'm trying to find good pictures of them. So this pattern here, again, you can't really see the stitch pattern very well. We'll have to try and find, don't think moving it close is going to help. But there's a lace pattern all over on this top. And I like it, but it's too baggy. So I think probably what I would do is I would gauge swatch and then size down to make it more fitted. And perhaps either make the sleeves shorter or not have the sleeves on it at all. Because that just looks a bit too oversized all over. Or maybe, I think either no sleeves or completely long sleeves. I think the 3/4 length sleeves just don't look right with that. Um, yeah, right, let me keep going. 28 patterns altogether. So there's a few bags in here. So let me just quickly scan. So these are all the patterns. Some of them are crochet. So the ones with this little blue are all crochet patterns. So a good mix. Lots more patterns than I've shown you. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bag patterns, a few shawls. Hang on, is that right? Yes, I think so. Yeah, 28. No, more than that, 33. There's 33 patterns, I think. Although it's slightly misleading because some things are counted more than once. But I think, well, it says 33 anyway. Um, One thing that I would say, in terms of the patterns, is they're not very size inclusive. So, and I'm just realizing this now, the shorts pattern is only in one size. So size 10 to 12, which is really disappointing. So they're worked top down, they're crocheted. So the 7 balls of yarn that I've got to make this is probably not going to be enough because I'm definitely larger than a size 10 to 12. Right. Okay. So I'm not going to show you these pages that I'm looking at, because obviously it'll give the pattern away, and these are paid for patterns. So the polo shirt, so the yellow collared polo shirt, which is this one, that's only in 3 sizes. So these are really not size inclusive. So they're either UK 8 to 10, 12 to 14, or 16 to 18. So not size inclusive. Knitting pieces. Then the chevron shirt that I showed you with the pastel gradient yarn that I've got, that is more size inclusive. So it goes from bust size 32 to 34 up to 48 to 50. So that is more size inclusive, which is good. Let's have a look. So that's knit bottom up. So a few nice shawls in here. And again, there are other garments which at another time I might knit, but for this year, these are the ones that appeal to me. A cardigan that has the circle on the side to hold it together. That, again, not great size inclusivity, only 4 sizes available. So 32 to 34 bust, going up to 44 to 46. Yep. So again, not very size inclusive. And then only 3 sizes for the grey top that I showed you that I thought said was oversized. And I wasn't sure about the sleeves. That's only in 3 sizes, so small, medium, and large. So this is quite disappointing actually for Rico. I mean, as I say, I've not used any of their patterns before, so I don't know whether this just tends to be the size inclusivity of their patterns, but not good, not good at all. Yeah, but so I guess lovely patterns, lots to choose from, but probably need to do better in terms of size inclusivity. So that's that one. And then the next one, the next pattern book is Rowan. So this is their magazine number 79. My experience with these in terms of my taste is they tend to be hit and miss. So some I like most things in them, others hardly anything at all. But this is one that I had a look at and really liked quite a lot of the patterns. So I believe this pattern is called Meadow. So again, knitting a cotton yarn. I've got some stash leftovers that I've got set aside for this. But again, age-old problem of gauge swatching. I'll see if there's a better picture of that. This is a lovely pattern as well. Again, good stash buster. And I think that could be dressed up or down. I can see it looking, you know, being very appropriate for work, office wear. And that one is called Yarrow, designed by Chloe Low, in 4-ply cotton yarn. Here we go. Oh, this is the daffodil. This is the daffodil pattern by Florence Sperling. And that's a 4-ply as well, with a slip stitch pattern. Now this is, again, another one that I really like. You can see there's a textured panel down the side there, which is similar to the other Rowan pattern that I showed from Ravelry. So quite simple, I think would be fine on the beach or even at work. I think this is a more textured yarn that's been used here for this. So this is Gorse, and it's by Annika Andrea Volker, Knitting Cotton Trio, which I believe is a DK yarn. So I purchased with my drops order from Wool Warehouse. Drops Bell. I've used it before. It's linen, cotton, viscose, I think. So I've used it before for summer garments, and it's really nice. It knits up well, and it's got a nice drape to it, and it's nice and breathable. And with it being that bit heavier, with it not being 4-ply, I get more use out of it through the year. So I plan on knitting this pattern with the drop spell in a similar-ish colour, in a kind of light denim blue. And then the marigold pattern. There we go. So plain, apart from a lace, you can see that coloured band there in lace. Again, this is a 4-ply pattern. Cotton, bought the yarn, got a big drops order from a warehouse. This I fell in love with. So this is knit in Rowan Kid Silk Haze. So you can see it's nice and soft and fluffy. I really like the simple lace motif. It's kind of wraparound tie waist cardigan. The name of the pattern is Lupin by Martin Story. Now, Kid Silk Haze is about £10 a ball, and I think this takes six balls, I think. So I'm undecided what yarn I'm going to knit this out of. I do really want to knit this. I've heard I've got quite sensitive skin, and I have heard that Drops Kid Silk Mohair, the white one, is more scratchy than the other colours. So I don't know how accurate that is, but that's certainly something that I've heard from other podcasters. I ordered a ball of Knitting for Olive mohair in a cream colour to test that out and see how that feels next to skin, because that's a better price point than the Kid Silk Haze. It is more expensive than the Drops version, but this is going to be tiny yarn on tiny needles, and I don't want to knit it and then it just be too itchy to wear, because that's going to be really frustrating. So jury is out on which mohair yarn I'm going to use, but this is getting knit. And um, going. And really, you can tell that how much I like the lace motif. Um, oh, it's nice. Some congealed granola in my new Rowan pattern book. Uh, try and get rid of that. There we go. Get rid of the skanky granola. Um, I'll cover the crusty bit. Um, so this shawl pattern, I'm not sure if you can see, it's got that same lace pattern with the love heart motif as that wraparound mohair cardigan. And I just really like the motif. So I'm definitely going to knit this one. And I've got the yarn and it's let me see if I've got it here. No, no, I've not got it to hand. But I've bought like a peach mohair drops mohair to knit this. So, I mean, I've got no business buying all these pattern books and all this yarn because I didn't have enough time to knit all the things before, and now I make yarn, which I don't really have any business doing. Um, so I've got even less knitting time because now I'm obsessed with spinning. Anyway, that's another story. So I really like this pattern. So I probably want to bend the book, but this cardigan. So there's a lace pattern on each row, each of the white rows, and then a contrast colour for a very narrow row, the kind of darker peachy colour. And then at the bottom, you can see the navy blue. Now, I odd design choice for me. It just doesn't look quite right having a big blue strip of the stockinette stitch at the bottom. So I think I'm going to knit it in these colours using cotton yarn. Again, it's 4-ply. But I think where the navy block is, I think I'd do that all ribbon, um, or just not have that navy block at all and just have the navy trim and continue with the striping because it just looks a bit strange, I think. Um, so this pattern as well, I've stopped giving you the names, haven't I? So this one is called Golf, and that's by Lisa Richardson. Again, good stash buster there. Um, and that's 4-ply. Let's go back to these others. So this one is called Croquet by Martin Story. And Nigella is the shawl pattern by Martin Story. Yeah. And that's all of them. So, um, yeah, so that's the Rowan pattern book. So there's lots and lots of patterns there. So that's my extended rundown of some spring and summer knitting patterns that I am hoping to knit. Probably unrealistic, definitely unrealistic to get even a small percentage of them done this summer, if ever. but I really like looking through pattern books and getting some ideas of different things that I can make. And it's nice. I like to set myself a goal if I'm going away, or if there's a particular event, to work on something in the run up to that. The top that I showed you in my last episode, the knitted olive Chrysler top, isn't getting that much time because the stitch pattern I'm finding a bit dull. And also I've got my shiny new hobby, which is taking my time. Anyway, I'll stop there before I start rabbiting on. So I hope that's given you some ideas for some spring or summer knitting. Do have a look at the Wool Warehouse drop sale. I do like, I think people aren't sure about drops and their ethics in terms of, I guess, how well paid the yarn producers are, given the discounts that they're able to offer. But I guess in the research that I've done into drops, which may not have been very extensive, but I have had a little bit of a look, and there don't seem to, I've not been able to find any evidence of unethical practice in relation to sheep and yarn treatment, I guess. I could be mistaken, but I guess the look that I had into drops and their ethics, let's not go into the pattern side of things, because my suspicion is that there's some questions there, perhaps, about the ethics around their patterns, is my understanding anyway. I'm rambling. That's enough from me. I'm rambling. It's late. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for watching. I hope you found something inspiring there. Do go and have a look at the Laughing Hens website, and do share below any summer yarns that you use and really like, or any of your kind of any summer patterns that you've knit and that you've really liked, to help the rest of us kind of get some inspiration for good things to knit. Okay, great to catch up with you again. Yeah, thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, please. Thank you.